Hi, welcome to our video lesson for Heritage Studies and Science today. This week we're going to be learning about spring. We've been working on the 4 seasons for the last 3 weeks, so this is our 4th week, and we're going to learn about spring this week. So I have a fun story to read to you about Miss Long and her gardening. So I decided I would do our lesson outside today. It's such a beautiful spring day. So I'm going to read you the story. It's called Crying Clouds. So let's listen to find out what kind of weather Miss Long experienced in this story. Crying Clouds. Miss Long looked out her window. It was a perfect day for working in the garden, just like today, right? She pulled on her "I love to garden" t-shirt and headed outdoors. Miss Long looked at her flower garden and thought of the time she would spend in the garden. Miss Long had a habit of talking to the birds in her yard. One bird kept chirping from the edge of the bird bath in the middle of her garden. Miss Long knew the bird bath was empty, and she planned to fill it as soon as she was finished with her planting. By early afternoon, Miss Long had planted the last zinnia seed. Zinnia is a kind of flower. And the tiny yellow marigold plants, marigold is also a kind of flower, that trimmed the border of her cutting garden. She asked if the little bird that was perched on the empty bird bath, if he thought the yellow marigolds would be big enough for cutting before the zinnias were up and blooming. She was having a fun conversation with her little birdie friends. She watched as the little bird took off towards a high tree. Then she noticed the dark clouds in the sky. We have something to show you here. We have 3 new words to learn. "Oh my," Miss Long said. "Look at the sky. It looks like those clouds are going to cry." Hastily, Miss Long collected her spade and gloves and threw them in the bucket. Finally, she had put everything into the shed. She picked up her long skirts and rushed into the house. Big drops of rain fell all around her. She closed the door behind her. Her "I love the garden" shirt had gotten wet from the rain. She brushed off the raindrops and traced the letter I on her shirt. I was one of her favorite words because, after all, she was Miss Long, and I makes one of her best sounds. Miss Long went to look out the window. Clouds heavy with water poured down rain on her newly planted seeds and flowers. She pressed up against the window to watch. "Oh my," she said. "Look at the sky. Those gray clouds will cry and cry." She watched her flowers sway with the weight of the falling drops. "Oh my," she said. "Look at the sky. Those gray clouds will cry and cry." She thought about the little zinnia seeds and hoped they would not wash away. "Oh my," she said again. "Look at the sky. Those gray clouds will cry and cry." She hoped the marigolds would not bend and break. Miss Long put on her raincoat. The storm was almost over, so she headed out to check on her garden. Little puddles of water lined the garden walk, and the bird bath was full to the brim and running over. The sky was getting lighter. We're going to add to our story, add to our words. We're going to add this word here, and we're going to add this word here. So, "Oh my," she says. "Look at the sky. Soon those clouds will fly." So she's happy that the rain's going to stop and the clouds are going to fly away. Little puddles of water lined the garden walk. and the sky was getting lighter. Remember that part of the story? So now she says, oh my, look at the sky. The rain will stop by and by. By and by means it will stop soon. Soon the spring shower ended. The flowers bent under the weight of the water as if they were nodding a welcome to Miss Long. Thought Miss Long. Now why was I so upset that the sky was crying? She spoke to the bird that huddled on a nearby limb, his feathers all puffed up to keep himself warm. Look at my flowers, Mr. Bird. They like the sky that gives them rain, and now it gives them sun. I think that I like the sky. The bird chirped a reply and then flew to the now filled bird bath. So Miss Long didn't have to do that. God did it for her, right? He splashed in the water and sang a wonderful song to Miss Long. As Miss Long listened to the bird, she bent down and whispered to her flowers, my pretty little flowers like the sky, as do the little birds that fly. And yes, oh me, oh my, I sure do agree. Yes, so do I. So what a fun little story about Miss Long planting her garden, the different kinds of weather we see in the spring. We see sun, we see rain. Right now I'm seeing some sunshine and a little nice breeze blowing. So let's talk about that story for a moment. I'm going to ask you a few questions, see if you can remember them. What color flowers did Miss Long plant? So see if you can remember. Think back to what the story was about. So yes, Miss Long planted yellow flowers, beautiful bright yellow flowers. What else did Miss Long plant? Not just flowers, but she planted seeds. That's right, seeds. How did Miss Long know it was going to rain? There were a few things that I read about that let her know it was going to rain. Remember? One thing, a bird flew away from the bird bath. She looked up in the sky. She saw the dark clouds. The wind was blowing a little bit. Those are some of the ways that we can tell that it might start to rain. Who sends the rain? You know the answer to that. God does. He knows what's best. How did Miss Long talk in a different way in this story? Miss Long doesn't usually talk this way, but she talked in rhymes, didn't she? All the words that she used to talk in rhymes, let's go over them again. My, sky, cry, fly, and by. Now sometimes when Y can play for the vowel team, then the Y in a short little word like that is going to sound like the long I sound. So those short words that we just reviewed are going to have that long I sound. And that's when Y every once in a while plays for the vowel team, just like we saw that W last week, that W played for the vowel team as well. Let's another question. Why did the bird fly away? Who remembers that? Remember when the bird flew away? The bird bath was what? It was empty, wasn't it? But then after the rain, God filled it up and the bird came back, had a great time splashing and singing his song to Miss Long. Did Miss Long get around to filling the bird bath is our last question, and no, God did that for her, right? Well, what a fun way a nice story to talk about spring and to learn about our new sound. When Y plays for the vowel team, it sounds like that long I sound. So, fun story. God bless you.